Welcome to the War Eagle Radio Network for Talons Out Live, presented by Rogers Hydrant Services. Coming to you live from West Carroll High School's War Eagle Team Night. Talons Out Live takes you in-depth and behind the scenes with West Carroll War Eagles head coach Clayton Morris, with stats, comments, and a breakdown of the previous game, plus a look ahead in the schedule. We'll sit down weekly with special guests and even a senior spotlight player. Now let's get this show started from the high school cafeteria stage. This is Talons Out Live. Welcome one and all to the War Eagle Radio Network, Talons Out Live, presented by Rogers Hydrant Service here at Team Night in West Carroll High School. We got all the team back there. They are getting ready to do a game activity, so they're going to have a little fun with all that stuff here in just a few minutes. This is Talons Out Live, presented by Rogers Hydrant Service. They have hydrant flow testing, flushing and repairs, valve operation, hydrant painting, GPS mapping, and so much more. Water main repairs, call Tim Rogers or Joey Cherry at 662-3700. Visit them online at rogershydrantservice.com. They know H2O with 125 years of combined experience in the water treatment and distribution. So we appreciate Rogers Hydrant Service coming on board and taking care of this Talons Out Live for us. I'm Jonathan Gowan alongside Mr. Adam Welch. How are you tonight, sir?
Great. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. We had some good lasagna. Got that down pretty quickly from the, I believe it was the Tresvant Church of Christ was our presenter for tonight. And Mr.
We
Nick
appreciate
Bryant,
it.
Yeah, it's gave them a little devotional and talk with the kids and stuff. So pretty appreciate them coming in, feeding the players and taking care of business tonight. And the man of the hour, as always, Coach Morris. How are you, sir?
Good. How are y'all?
Doing good. Good. Stuffed from the lasagna. All is good, though. All is well. Ready to make things happen. So, before we get into the football of the situation, and I hate to start anything out on a sad note, but we got a couple of folks that we need to keep in our thoughts and prayers. Coach Kendrick, girls basketball head coach, lost his mother this past week, so keep the Kendrick family in your thoughts and prayers. And yesterday, after a fatal traffic accident, we have lost one of our own, Jody Keeman, and he's always been right there in the support of West Carroll, the support of the community and Tresvant, Atwood, and the West Carroll community, and with the good old barbecue from the Keemans, and then his mother, Miss Debbie, has always been an advocate for the broadcast and what we do. She's brought us cookies plenty of times.
Oh, yeah.
So, keep Johnny and Miss Debbie in your thoughts and prayers, and the entire family from Jody Keeman. Gone way too soon, I can tell you that, because he was definitely a staple within the community.
Absolutely.
So, thoughts and prayers are going out to the entire Keeman family, and as like I said, as well as the Kendrick family, and just pray that they are able to kind of make it through these tough times and such. So, but thoughts and prayers with them. So, now on to the football. A pretty nice little victory the other night against McEwen, and that was one of those games that we kind of looked at and we said, you don't want to look past it, and it turned out, much better, I feel like, than what we was really kind of planning and kind of thinking about. And I know there's plenty of times that we get on this show and, it's like, special teams needs works and this needs work and this needs work. Just in a general whole of the sense of everything, do you feel like it all worked the way it was supposed to on Friday night?
We'll give the credit to the kids. We talked on this show during the bye week that we needed to do some soul searching and some character building and just really try to address and fix some internal issues we were having that Houston kind of revealed to us over there in Aaron, Tennessee, and it was a mental and physical struggle, and we didn't walk away from that game feeling like that we had put our best foot forward. If anything, we may have taken a step back. And, and then last week on this show, I said that, I felt like we had taken the steps needed to improve on the the relationship part of it. Getting back to what we were as a team, and
Right.
unfortunately, the only way we would know is on Friday night.
Right.
When you play another team, and I really truly think what happened Friday night is a result of the soul searching that our kids did,
Yeah.
young men. Not kids. They a lot of them have told me in the last 2 days this week that the bye week really kind of opened their eyes. And sometimes, I mentioned it, some seasons you need to heal physically on a bye week. You're kind of beat up, you banged up, and you got injuries out the wazoo. And that wasn't our case. I felt like we needed to heal mentally and emotionally
Right.
and not so much physically. And man, I don't think that we could have expected a much better start. Now, was it perfect? No, sir.
Right.
That we look and we get through film, and there's still a lot of things that we need to clean up, and it's not as clean as we want it to be. And we had some kids that normally play well that didn't play as well against McEwen, but that's also exciting because of how they played, and we're
Yeah.
still not where we should be and what
Yeah.
we've seen from them
Yeah.
all together. And so no, I don't think I was expecting it to go that way. I thought it could. I thought there was an
Yeah.
opportunity, but again, up until that point, we hadn't done a whole lot this season right out the gate to show that we can come and put the team away quickly and stay there, for 4 quarters. We have not done that yet this season, and so we were able to do that, and I hope that we continue to grow and build on that and move forward.
What do you attribute that to? Sorry, Jonathan.
Okay. Well, one thing that I was going to say is it really seemed like that they did put those 4 quarters together on Friday night. And a question I want to ask for you is, okay, if you look back at Houston County, and then you look at this McEwen game,
Mm-hmm.
and then you look at perfection.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a percentage. Where do you feel in your percentage level that Houston County was, and the percentage level that you feel like McEwen was, based on that 100%?
Well, 100% it's not attainable. I'm always
Right?
going to be able to
Yeah.
find something,
Yeah.
and we're human. We're going to make mistakes,
Right.
and we'll talk about the penalties here in a minute. And we made plenty of mistakes, against McEwen. I Even though in a victory, and we talked about it at Houston, it didn't feel like a victory. It just felt like, and sometimes you got to win those games. Sometimes you got to scrap, you got to claw, and you got to find a way. I mean, there's trap games in every level, and so as far as perfection goes, I would give us below a 50% against Houston. I just don't feel like we did good things.
Right,
We won the game. We scored 21 points. We had over 400 yards of offense and gave up less than 150 on defense. So it's not like we couldn't even tie our cleats. But for where we want to be when we started this, from where we set our goals, our sights, this isn't a hobby here anymore, and that's what we're trying to break. This sport's different. Sports are beautiful, and they're a great thing. All sports, what they teach. But I mentioned to the kids today at the end of practice, while it's fresh on my mind, and we'll get it back to perfection. You never see anybody put on Facebook, "Hey, we're getting together at the Atwood Parks to play softball this Sunday."
Right.
You never see that about football, or hoop session at 3 o'clock
Right.
up at the nest. You never see that about football. This is something. It's different. It is a different animal. In the pride and the purpose that has to go into this sport was never intended to be a hobby. Not saying that other sports are, but if I want to go play pickup basketball, I'm terrible at basketball. I tried to play it, but if I want to get some friends together and we go shoot the ball or whatever, you're able to do that. Or if we want to go out and play, some of my coaches play that men's league softball. You can do those things. Once football's done, it's done.
Yeah.
It's just not come back for you. And it's hard to realize. I didn't realize it when I was their age, and it has to be a little bit more. It has to mean a little bit more. But we've talked about this on the show. When something means more to you, you are more inclined to pursue perfection,
Right.
because it's personal now.
Right.
Like, you're invested in this. And so, against Houston, we had lost sight of that goal. We allowed an external battle turn into an internal battle and then back to an external battle. And we found ourselves having to fight two different battles at once. There's not an army in history that's been able to win a war fighting on two fronts at the same time.
Yeah.
You can't find it.
Yeah.
So it's not, you can't expect teenagers to do it. And we're fighting mentally and internally within ourselves, and also trying to fight an opponent that was playing very well at home. And we were well below 50%. I'd put us in the probably, that 48%, 45%.
Yeah.
Flip to McEwen, I'd probably score us, 80% plus. I'd probably score us 80% plus. It's you saw teammates holding each other accountable, but not in a demeaning way. And you saw teammates taking accountability for their mistakes, but not in a negative way.
Yeah.
We were playing together, and we started from the get-go. And that was the key. And that's the thing we preach, and that's the pregame message we gave to them. Hey, get through the initial adversity together, and then we'll fight the battle. There's always adversity when you start because you don't know what you're going to get.
Right.
McEwen, again, gives us a completely different defense than we thought we were going to get, and it's happened every game this year. There's initial adversity, but when that initial adversity allows internal strife to happen, there's no way you can win both battles.
Right.
And our kids, and I credit the kids because all I am is a messenger. I sit there and I talk, and the coaches sit there and you talk, but the kids, they've got to buy into it. Not only do they have to buy into it, they have to bleed it into the culture of the team. And they did that. And the payoff was there. And it was a statement win. I don't care what McEwen's record was. We had not played very well up to that point. We truly have not. And for us to be, what was it, 3-1 going into the McEwen game
3-1.
was lucky. I mean, it was lucky. We had opportunities to lose a lot of those games that we won. And so that payoff, it was a statement for the kids, and it was a hopefully an eye-opening moment to show them, like, you are capable of the goals that you set out back in December to achieve. You've just got to stay grounded. You got to remember the purpose. You got to remember why you started, and you have to bring each other back down to earth. Like, we talked to them about being grounded, and
Yeah.
I really am excited about the growth, not just the play. Again, X's and O's are a dime a dozen. There's a right play, there's a wrong play, there's not an always right play, and there's not an always wrong play. It's just that's the way the game unfolds. But the manner in which you play the game with your brothers and with your family, that's what makes teams great. And if we're able to build on that moving forward, it could be very exciting. This week will tell a tale, but it could be very exciting.
So what is your percentage for McEwen? You never gave that.
Yeah, I did. I said
You did?
80%,
80, okay.
80%,
All right.
maybe a little
I-
over, but I give it 80.
I missed
I think
that
we
one.
doubled our percentages
That's
from
good.
Houston to McEwen.
I agree.
We did a lot of good things.
It was just one of those extra thoughtful questions.
Yeah.
Just trying to put that deep thought in there and see what he come up with.
I think Adam was getting ready to have a good question.
Yeah,
What
go for
do you? I think you were going to ask. What do you attribute? That,
This quick start that you had, did you do anything differently in practice, or did you feel like you did anything differently, or did you think that the dice just finally started rolling like you was planning on out of week one?
I think it again on Friday night. We as coaches are really truly. I mean, you're fans as well. The kids have got to play the game. The young men got to play the game, and I credit the kids to it because we were transparent with them during the bye week. We didn't sugarcoat anything, and that's not what they like. They don't respond to that. They want honesty. They want transparency. And I mentioned to y'all, we had some tough conversations with some individuals. We put some individuals in some groups on the spot and said, hey, you're holding us back. What you're doing, whether it's in play or after play or on the sideline, is holding us back.
The extra week, you feel like that helped you?
I really do, because I think a lot of kids, it allowed them to step away from the weekly grind of a game week without that pressure. And when I asked them to do some self-reflection, I think a lot of them did. And I typically ask it every year, but not everybody does it.
Yeah.
This group took it to heart. And, Dalen Drazzle was a great example. He came up, I guess it was, Sunday or Monday this week. And he said, Coach, he said, I really think the bye week opened my eyes. And he doesn't realize what he's saying. But to me, he's saying, he's seeing it more than just the schematic side of it.
Right.
That there's another aspect to playing the sport. And I think, again,
You didn't have that Friday to look forward to and work toward.
Yeah.
You had your chance to stand back and say, oh,
well, we didn't really change anything practice wise. We didn't throw them a curveball. I mean, I believe in routine, the best that you can. Life throws curveballs as in all facets. I mean, we're living it right now in this community in two different aspects. Life always throws a curveball.
Yeah.
But I believe in routine the most as possible. And it just clicked. And I was always hoping it would click. And there's no magic way to make it click. And I go to a key point, and I know we'll get to it, but to me, The tone was set when Nate Wyckoff met 34 in the hole on their first belly G play. And that was their physical runner who loved to bang it up in between the tackles.
Yeah.
And Nate met him and gave just an absolute beautiful one-on-one, big on big, best on best. We call it the eye opener. We actually do that drill in the tackle circuit. I mean, you sometimes you're in that situation, and he stepped up and just, man, I mean, it was just a beautiful tackle. And I think, if I have to pick a point that really set the tone, I think that set the tone.
Yeah.
It sent the message to McEwen that West Carroll can bang with us up here.
Right.
We might be bigger, but they're physical. McEwen is built on physicality and size and strength. That's what they've always been built on. They've been built on just kind of mauling over people, bullying them over and bulldozing them out of the way. And early on, especially defensively, we made it apparent that that's not going to happen.
Right.
And so you always are credit, who's going to be that first one to make that play to set the tone. And I think we did a better job of making that play faster this past week.
You hear the terminology, the offense makes headlines, defense wins championships. I look at this game and I say, well, 40 points, unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think we talk enough about
how well our defense is playing right now.
McEwen had 32 carries for 26 yards, and throwing the football, Davis was 4 out of 10 for only 43 yards. Wyckoff, Taylor, and Brogdon. Wyckoff had 8 tackles. Taylor had 6 tackles. Brogdon had 5. He had 3 sacks in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that defensive impact that those players made, number one, and think about that for a second, because I'm going to go to part 2, because it's going to lead into my next question. Part 2, I made the comment to Jonathan on there, and I'm not sure if he remembers or not, but Davis, 4 out of 10 for them. I said on there I was really surprised they didn't throw the ball more. I saw a great arm from Davis. Did that shock you at all that they didn't throw it more, though, or did they basically do what you thought they were going to do?
They did what I thought they were going to do. They just don't have the receiver speed in my opinion.
And that's what we were talking about.
To live and die with it.
Yeah.
One of their limitations and I think Coach Rice would agree is he just doesn't have a lot of speed right now.
Yeah.
Davis does have a good arm. He can throw a good ball.
Oh, yeah. And that's what we were a little confused about.
There's only so many pass plays in their arsenal, and it's all based off of play action for them, setting it up. We call it waggle, and it's based off of their belly and their veer and their power.
And their one good pass led to that touchdown.
Yeah, it did. But you can only run waggle so many times before it becomes apparent.
Figure it out.
And they just don't have the receivers. And we've been there. We were there not long ago. We just a couple of years ago, we just didn't have the receivers to really threaten anybody vertically, and it's hard to live that way. And so you might have a quarterback. I think about before the older Crochet senior year at Gleason, they weren't necessarily spread. They were double wing, and they had a Division I football player there that had a D1 arm, and they just didn't have the receivers to use it. I mean, so the arm is one thing, but you got to have people to throw it to, and a good quarterback doesn't make receivers fast and athletic and be able to catch a football. So no, they did. The only thing they did that they had not shown was a lot of flopping the tight end on offense. It was a good move by them because we base so much of what we do defensively off of where the tight end is and pre-snap alignment to that. I mean, if you flop him, it's hard to move all those pieces defensively. And it kind of gave us a little bit of we had to adjust on the fly to it, and that's hard because some of our kids don't come off the field. And but no, I don't think it's been talked about enough. And I'm looking at the season stats up to this point. Our defense has played pretty daggum well this year. I mean, we've had some special teams problems that's resulted in some points, but still, knock on wood, our defense has not given up over 170 yards total in a game, and that's just not much hurt. It's tough. That's really good defensive football.
All right, so we've got a text message, and we're going to see if we can get their attention and ask a question here in just a hot second. But Jenny. So we've had a text message that to scan the crowd, it sounds like we've got a lot of fun. We keep hearing some big stuff from this group over here on our left. Are they winning? They're the alpha. Okay, so what kind of game we got going on? What is this? Just like trivia. Okay. Okay, so it's band and similar to what we did last week on the. Okay.
You can't let them win.
Coach said you can't let them win.
You can't let that group win.
So it's the band, the cheerleaders, and some of the football players all kind of mixed together.
I like it.
And they're kind of doing similar to the trivia that we did for the coaches last
Coming
week.
together.
But apparently this team over here, if you'll look over here on the left side of the screen, apparently this team is winning because they're the ones that you keep hearing clapping and wooing and stuff. So who is that now?
That's Amari. I love Amari. Amari is he's a fun guy to have around. Hey, I think they just asked the trivia question, what is Coach Morris's real name? And Amari shouts out, it's William Clayton Morris. I swear on Jesus, it's William Clayton Morris. And he's right. I don't know how he knows. I'm going to have to figure that out after this. But
that's an investigation coming.
Definitely, because not very many people know my first name.
That's what. Well, we do now. And
we do. Everybody does now, thanks to Amari. But
everybody else. Well, that's good. I'm glad that some of them was able to kind of stick around and play some of these games and stuff. Maybe we need to work on some games and stuff for every team night, next year, whatever, and that way they can stick around a little bit. And that's fun. Yeah, they are having a blast. Like I said, I got a text message like, scan the crowd again. It sounds like a lot of fun. So this team has got it going on over
here. Got the Ric Flair two clap going on over there.
Okay, back to football chatter. What next question, Adam?
I'm going to talk some stats.
Okay.
Can I go and do some stats?
We're ready for it.
Let's do first downs. West Carroll 16, McEwen 5. Very impressive.
Hensley's inflatable rental.
Yes.
First down.
Yes, very much so. 10 rushing first downs for West Carroll, 3 passing and 3 penalty. So good combination there, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
And Zach Fowler, that's one stat that I looked at for Zach was, he was huge. 5 out of 9, 153 yards. It seemed like every time you run a pass play, I noticed up top, it seemed like he just had all day to throw the football. Talk about the offensive line.
The O-line did a great job in communicating pass pro. McEwen was, again, they gave us a little bit different defense. They have not shown 3-3 stack in the history of everness, to my opinion, or to my knowledge. And they came out in the 3-3 stack, and they were twisting and doing some different things. And so it was causing the O-line some problems early. But, man, the pass pro they were able to give Zach, and then Zach had a game. Zach had a game. He was our receivers, and I'll tell you, they owned up to it. They dropped 2 balls that should have been caught. Zach would have been over 200 yards passing if they catch those balls. And for a freshman, and there's a couple times he moved around in the pocket. That the moment that stands out to me, not necessarily the throw, but a lot of times with young quarterbacks, I've learned over the years is when they feel pressure, they want to get out of the pocket, and that's not always the safest place to be because you don't have people protecting you. Instead, Zach moved to his left and then stepped up in the pocket to deliver a throw.
Yeah,
that's upper level stuff. I mean, that's hard to teach. In that's just a glimpse. When you sit and you admire the work of somebody and you say, "Hey, man, that's not a freshman type move. No. That's a seasoned high school, college player.
It is.
To feel that pressure to your right, and you step to your left, and then you step up into your protection.
To
deliver the throw. And so he trusted it. That shows he trusts his O-line. He's willing to stand back there behind it 100%. And very few quarterbacks are willing to sit in there when they feel that pressure.
And he took some hits.
And he did take some hits, and he got right back up. And I thought again, I'm continually impressed with him, and he's only going to get better. And he's a great kid. But no, the O-line, they pass pro'd better than they run blocked. We'll say that. They've had some good conversations this week on film about some things that we haven't done this year up front, and I don't know why they did it against McEwen. And honestly, watching the film, like, how did we score 40 points? But, we were able to get outside and do some things. Jaden and Dalen and Zach and of course, Drew Smith had a big night on offense. We were able to do some things on the perimeter instead of just pounding it up in the middle. So, again, showing a little bit more dynamics out of our offense.
I've got a question as far as one of those sacks goes. And you can say, I can plead the fifth, whatever. You don't have to answer it, okay? If you can't and you don't want to, you don't have to answer it. There was one of the – and I don't know who the player was for McEwen. There was one of those sacks where he absolutely nailed Fowler, nailed him to the ground, and then turned around and kind of gave another shove.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Did we not see that?
It should have been flagged.
That was – boy, that flew all over me. I was like –
the sack was clean. The tackle was clean. I'm not a big fan of the NFL rule right now of a certain way you have to tackle the quarterback. It's just it's hard. When you're in the prime of you're in prime gear and you're pass rushing, it's hard to slow yourself down to hit an aiming point. I'm all for protecting the head, but there's, landing on top of the quarterback. I mean, that just comes with the game,
Yeah.
But no, I know what you're talking about. The kid pushed him back down on his back, both hands, was plain as day there out. And I hate saying that because if I feel like it gives me a bad rap, but again, I'm transparent. It should have been flagged.
It didn't give you a bad rap. I'm the one that asked the question.
No, I know exactly which one you're talking about. I remember it, and I saw it, and I was, of course, I asked the question. What are we doing
You're not
there?
Call that?
And so again, they're human too, and it's a split decision. And what influences that decision? Adam would tell you. You don't always understand what influences the decision when you make the call. You just make the call,
with your gut
and that's exactly right. And I think it may have been one of those situations. And so Zach's fine; he's not hurt, and kid's fine; he's not hurt. So everything ended up okay. But yes, by rule, it should have been flagged.
And it was at a point of the game too where I talked to Jonathan about this. There was not many penalties called to that point. So I don't even think it was entering their mind like, well, let's throw a flag off. So there was no flags thrown on either team hardly the first half.
Floodgates opened after that one, but
the third quarter it seemed to really.
Maybe I shouldn't have asked the question.
Well, I want to ask you the third quarter, and I noticed it a little bit, but not bad. I felt like their focus might have got not off, but maybe a little off the third quarter because with the big lead, did you feel like that? Do you feel like that led to some of them holding penalties? There was probably 5 on us in the third quarter, and we didn't have, I don't think, any now the first half, maybe one.
Yeah, I just again, I went back and I've watched and I saw the holds, and I guess I just don't get behind just an absolute mauling of a block, a hold. I mean, to me, in order for it to be considered a hold, the person getting blocked has to make an attempt to at least get off the block. If you're allowing someone to drive you 30 yards downfield, then you're probably getting held, but you're not doing anything to fight it. And both of those holds, one was on Corn. It was a beautiful stop block. Corn was working that kid all the way to the sideline. I never saw a hold there. Yes, he had a hold of his jersey. His hands are inside, but the kid was not trying to get off. He was just allowing Corn to control him. It's not a hold in my book. Same thing with Hayden Hawley. We're running towards our sideline, and I was watching him. And as soon as that official on our sideline threw the flag, I said, you can't call that a hold. He said, and I just never saw the kid try to get separation to get off and see the tongue. And so But no, I don't disagree with you. It's hard with high school kids when you're up and you've had an impressive first half to come right back out with that same amount of focus and intensity. And that's a challenge in itself, And so, there was a little bit with that. And there was a little bit lack of focus there. But, credit the kids. They stayed resilient and dialed in. And, we racked up some penalties. We did some dumb things there in the second half. Emotions got going a little bit there. Towards the fourth quarter and the fourth quarter, but the kids still played hard.
You had a turnover there in the third quarter. Your only turnover I remember of the game, and it didn't happen to the third quarter. But how impressed were you after that? It seemed like they told Jonathan we didn't miss a beat. Your defense come out and just said, well, we'll give them the ball. You gave McHugh in great field position. It didn't seem to matter. I think you could have gave them the ball at your 20, and I believe you could have held them.
Careful, Adam.
Well, I felt good about it.
Well, yeah, no,
I felt good about it.
Coach Dolan has got the defense dialed in. The kids are playing hard. I go by, brag on them again. Dalen Drazzle put in a lot of film work, and he was calling out plays based off formations and what he had seen. And when you have a kid that's on the field doing that, it makes your defense better. And our defense is playing lights out, and if they continue to play this way throughout the season and in the playoffs, we'll be in games. We'll have an opportunity to win ball games with the defense playing the way they're playing right now.
That's all I got for now.
What do you mean that's all you got for now?
Been shooting them good.
we
hadn't had a commercial in a while. So.
Well, let's take a commercial break. We'll
got a lot of
we got activity going on. What's happening now? Oh, we're doing algebra now.
Oh boy.
Dad said, oh boy. I don't know what we're doing now. All right, we're going to separate. We're going to take a 1-minute message, and we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more with Coach Morris. You're listening to Talons Out Live here on the War Eagle Radio Network.
If you're looking for the best in home generators, then look to K-Men Electric in Greenfield, Tennessee for your sales and installation of Generac home and standby generators. Free estimates, licensed and insured. Why sit in the dark during power outages? Life is better with power! K-Men Electric has the experience you need with over 1,000 generators installed. Give them a call today at 731-571-0667.
Rogers Hydrant Service Incorporated is a family-owned and operated company located in the heart of West Tennessee. Their business stands on hard work and hands-on customer service. Whether you need hydrant flow testing, flushing and repairs, valve operation, hydrant painting, GPS mapping, backflow device testing and repair, or water main repairs, they're the complete hydrant company to serve all of your hydrant needs. Call Tim Rogers or Joey Cherry at 731-662-3700. Rogers Hydrant Service Incorporated, they know H2O. Welcome back live on the War Eagle Radio Network. Talons Out Live, presented by Rogers Hydrant Service here at West Carroll High School. So they got done with their trivia here, but one last little question come about. Our speaker of the night, Mr. Nick Bryant from the Tresent Church of Christ, he spoke up and he said, "What year did I graduate from West Carroll High School?" And what did Amari say?
1955.
Boy, the look on Bryant's face
Fired
was
it
just,
from the hip,
oh
not
my
applause.
Man,
Again, Amari,
that's funny.
Amari's a sophomore, and hopefully we're still doing this by the time his senior season rolls around. But he's a hoot to talk to, and he's a good kid, and he's funny. He's a funny kid.
He's been quite entertaining over here on this table.
Really like Amari.
Yeah, but the face of Nick Bryant after he asked that and got that answer was very priceless. So, you got any more things on
I've got a good one here.
Right.
Oh boy.
Field position.
Oh, I don't even know. I don't even remember that one now.
You had really good field position all night. 45. Your average was about the 45-yard line, compared to McEwen, which it averaged between 30 and 40, but predominantly it was 35 and less for them more times than not. It seems like that's been like that though mainly all year with your team. To a certain extent. I know there's a few games there where you can't count everything the same.
Yeah.
But talk about how important that is.
Well, it's twofold. Number one, we have shown time and time again we're not afraid to go for it on fourth down. And, extending drives, and I believe we had another good fourth down conversion rate, this past game, maybe 3 for 3 or 2 for 3 or something like 2 for 2, something like that. So, we've shown that we're not afraid for that. So that continues drives and continues to push the ball the other way. And the punt team, we've had some issues with the snap and catching, but when we get it off, we get good coverage down the field, and also return wise. Something that's overlooked, and I overlook it too, but it's important, is our two punt returners, Darian Taylor and Dalen Drazzle. They're doing an excellent job of fielding the ball. Yeah. Whether it's a fair catch or not, but not letting it hit and roll. I cannot stand a 20-yard punt that hits the ground and rolls another 30 yards and turns into a 50-yard punt. Now you lose field position. Yeah. So when they catch it and they field it cleanly, even if they don't return it, you're saving yourself 10 to 20 yards easily on that. Yeah. So that's massive, and Coach Taylor does a great job of getting those guys to work on that and teaching them the details of catching it in traffic.
Joseph Brogdon, Hayden Hawley, these names this is one staff that I was very impressed with. Nick Andre, Hayden Hawley, Jackson Mims, all those I just mentioned there had 3 tackles. Andre, 4 tackles. Brogdon and Taylor with 6 tackles, and we talked about Nate, 10 tackles. We've talked about it once, I know, with the team defense, but it feels like it's just a team effort every night on defense. It's not just one guy you can say, all right, we've got to, if you're the other team, we've got to block this guy, or we can beat West Carroll. It does not seem like it's like that.
No, and I'm excited and I'm encouraged continually by our underclassmen finding ways to not only help us, but to help us in big ways. Brogdon has steadily gotten better every week. He had a big game. And he plays down there at the D-line, and he's not very big, and he's going against some big old boys, and he's continuing to find ways. I think he had a sack. I believe he came away with a sack against McEwen, and some tackles for losses. And then, there's not just one kid. Yeah, you got to get Nate Nick blocked right there in the middle. There's no doubt about it. But, Holly plays well. I think Tice Reed is continuing to play very well there in the middle. Really clogging things up. You've got some younger guys there at corner with Darian Taylor and Preston Bosley. They play very well. We knew who our guys were going to be coming in certain spots, seniors with some experience, but we didn't know who some of these other people would be. And Brogdon's one of those names that we really thought was kind of a year away. We thought he was a year away from really being able to come out of his shell, and boy, he proved us wrong. And now he's worked his way into, we just can't take him off the field on defense. He has to be out there.
Jaden Milton, 22 carries for 203 yards.
He left a lot out there too.
He did. And it just seemed like resiliency. That's the word I want to use with him.
He had a better night. He was another one that we had challenged to he's another one that we had challenged to do some soul searching and realize that you are a leader and your words are impactful and how you carry yourself. And he can't do what he does by himself. A line has got to block well, and if it's perimeter run, the receivers have to stalk block well in order to get out there. And the running back is, he's got phenomenal stats for 5 games, and I think he'll have another great night again this week. But he's in a position where it can't be done by himself. He has to have people blocking for him. And like I said, we struggled a little bit getting the inside run game going. But our edge blocking, our perimeter blocking, I thought was really, really, really good against McEwen. We were able to finally got our screen game going. Drew took a quick screen to the field house, and we've been working on that since spring, and it just has been lethargic. But it goes back to stalk blocking. It goes back to being able to block in space. Receivers, in order to get the rock, you got to block. And so they're taking pride in it. Coach Dixon works those guys every day with stalk blocking until they understand how imperative it is to our success, because we're not always going to be able to bang teams in between the tackles with Jaden Milton. We're going to play teams as we move through the season that's just not going to be a way we survive. And McEwen kind of did that to us a little bit. We had to get outside of them and do some things. And if your receivers aren't stalk blocking well and your perimeter guys aren't stalk blocking well, then you're kind of hand-tied. And that's what our issue has been offensively at this part of the season for the last 2 years since I've been here. We've had a hard time getting things to happen in the perimeter of the field when the middle's clogged. Multiple different people that can make you pay in space out on the perimeter.
2 words: confidence and humble. And it seemed like after a win like this, number one, what does this do for your confidence? But also at the same time, number 2, how can it be very humbling knowing that this is a great win, but you got to get the kids back on the train of, hey, proud of you, but that week's over. We've got to focus on Brewston. Brewston always plays us tough. It doesn't matter what kind of team West Carroll has or Brewston has.
Kind of go back to building on that and your question, and again, conversation we had at the end of practice today in our huddle before we broke. Remember your past. Remember the history. We beat Gibson County in an emotional game, and then we turned around and went to play FACS, and we weren't as focused as we thought we were, and the kids didn't take them as seriously as they should have, and we lost.
Yeah.
And I warned them to learn from the past. Don't make the same mistakes, because if we make that mistake this time and we lose this one, it's too late in the season to climb back out of it. We don't have time to do soul searching now. It's all gas, no brakes, moving on into November at this point.
That's what that bye week was for.
That's exactly right. So we cannot afford to make the same mistakes that we made in the past. We have to learn from those. So we've actually, believe it or not, and when I look and reflect on the season, I may not think this was a good idea at that point, but I've tried to relate this week more to the FACS week, as far as are we preparing ourselves mentally to go out and get a job done? Because yes, it was an emotional win against McEwen. Yes, it's a big win. It was a big region win. It was one of those we had circled, kind of a question mark. We just didn't know what exactly McEwen had to bring to the table and where they were going to be. And Coach Rice is a phenomenal coach. I think the world of him. He does great things. And it's as long as he is there, McEwen is going to be a threat. I don't care if they're over when we play them. He's a good coach, and he's going to get them playing hard. And all he needs is time. He needs time. He needs an off season, and it'll be a different McEwen team every year from this point forward. But Brewston, I told the kids it does not matter to me if Brewston did not play a single football game all season long and decided that they're going to show up and play football against West Carroll on West Carroll week. They are going to play their best game.
That's right.
They are going to absolutely play lights out with a lot of passion, a lot of emotion, and a lot of intensity. And that's just the way it is. I've learned that, and y'all knew that before I got here.
Yep,
and
that's true.
everyone that's been around West Carroll football understands that. And I don't care that they're 1 and whatever, 1 and 6, 1 and 7,
whatever.
It does
Whatever.
not matter
Yeah, I
to
don't even
me
know what
because
that- yeah.
the team that has played for them is not going to be the team that steps on the field come Friday. That is my mental preparation, and that is a message to the kids. And if I'm wrong in a good way.
Yeah, you'll take it.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's a great attitude to have right now, I think, going forward.
Yeah, is that it?
Hey, Jonathan's still here. Hey.
Hey, is that it? All right. So if we're done looking at the stats and
Yeah.
and things like that, let's talk about your players of the game, who you want to pick out for players of the game. I know that's probably going to be one of your hardest weeks to pick out players.
Yeah,
of the
you know,
game
there was a lot
of
of
good
them.
stuff.
You know, we've mentioned quite a few. You know, we've mentioned, of course, Jaden Milton continually, you know, stacking up 200 plus yards rushing the game and multiple touchdowns, and you know, the O-line making those things. We talked about their pass pro. We talked about the game that Zach Fowler had, but here's one. I'm gonna pull one from some position group that we don't normally get to pull one from, at least since I've been here. And I'm gonna pull out a receiver. I'm gonna go with Drew Smith on this one. He was a yard away from 100-yard receiving, two receiving touchdowns, and we just don't get a lot of time since I've been here where we can say, hey, we've got a receiver that had a phenomenal night. And of course, Zach's got to get him the ball. You know, Nate gave him a great stalk block on his screen that went to the house. And so there's a lot that goes into it. But I don't think since I've been here, I've said a receiver, as maybe one time last season. Maybe we said JD for the Gleason game. I think he had a big game against Gleason. But we don't get to talk about our receivers very much. So
true.
I'm going to go Drew Smith here.
All right. What about any kind of your weekly injury report? Any bugs or injuries that we want to talk about?
Knock on wood, we're still pretty healthy. Ben is progressing very well. He's actually throwing the ball around a little bit, and he's getting to the stage now where he's eager to get back in pads, and it's just, you know, got to pump the brakes on him.
Right.
But everybody else, you know, for being this point in the season, I don't think we could have asked to be any healthier.
All right, from the game on Friday night, anything that really kind of startled you? Your zombie trail paintball, scary moments in time. Anything that really just kind of jumped out to you?
Pre-game. Pre-game. I mean, I related it to the way I felt pre-game of the first game I coached here as a head coach against Brewston at Brewston, and that was a ball game. Just the nerves I felt and how anxious I was and how uncertain I was, and you know, you can call it what you want, but there was just a lot of questions I had in my head about what McEwen was going to do, how they were going to play, and then how were we going to play?
Yeah.
You know, did we fix our issues over the 2 weeks, or did we not? And there was just a lot of questions in my head. So I think, honestly, it was pregame. You know, once we got playing, guys, it just felt smooth. You know, we had mistakes, we had things, but it just felt smooth, and it felt, you know, scripted, and the kids were playing for each other and with each other and playing hard. And of course, it helps when you're winning. But you know, there wasn't a moment. Yeah, they had the pass play, but I never really felt, even with that one pass play that set them up for a touchdown, I never felt that they had a chance to really grab momentum for us. We were playing clean for the most part. So I think it was just me and my anxiety and stress and worrying and everything else.
I know what it was. Okay. Somewhere in the middle of that game, this gorgeous full moon started coming out, and you're sitting there thinking,
saw that.
You're sitting there thinking, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Do you know what the exact time of the full moon was? 6:39 p.m. I Googled it. I looked it up.
Yeah.
There's your pregame stuff right there.
Don't know why you Googled that, but it's good to know. I'm sure you have a reason why you Googled it, but you never thought about Googling what time the moon comes up tonight.
No, but when you see a full moon come through, you're wondering, okay, is it really full right now? And it has an exact moment when it's full, and that's what it was. 6:39
I
p.m.
appreciate the free knowledge because I have never had those thoughts cross my mind. I guess I need to take a little bit slower of a step at life and just appreciate some things every once in a while. But no, I saw the big moon over the stadium, and
crazy.
for about 5 seconds, I said, "Wow, look at that moon!" And then right back to the
Yeah.
you never thought anything. But no, it was just
There's a lot of times they say a lot of things go wrong and go crazy when you've got a big full moon and stuff like that. But it seemed like it was right the opposite
Yeah.
for us on Friday night, and that was some good stuff. So.
Yeah, no, again, I think it was just the amount of unknowns coming from a bye week against a team that I knew was going to be physical.
They
that
had
I-
a bye week.
that I
all
knew
that
was
stuff,
going to
yeah.
be big, and that I knew had a good coach that were coming off a bye week themselves, and they have pride in that program. I mean,
Yeah.
McEwen has had success here in the recent past, and they've been competitive. And I know graduation hit them hard last year, but when you have pride in a program, that just doesn't graduate, and so. And we hadn't even scratched our potential up to that point.
Yeah.
So there was just a lot of uncertainties, in my mind going into that game. And it was great just to get going, and it was great to just enjoy the kids playing the game.
Yeah.
It was great.
And you mentioned in some of the last things you talked about was things to fix. That's my next question. What is some of the things that you have got from that game, that the practice topics that we need to work on going into this Brewston game?
Our really, really smart offensive linemen need to stop being smart. And that sounds bad, but I'm going to explain.
Okay.
We're so smart sometimes we overthink things.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And we get in our heads and we question what we're seeing.
I feel that. I'm an overthinker. So.
Instead of just taking it for face value.
Right.
And going to do what you're coached to do. And we had, our interior run game struggled against McEwen, and they had some big boys. Don't get me wrong. I give them credit where credit's due. They did some things that we didn't prepare for because they haven't shown it. Again, I don't know. There's not enough time in the week to prepare for every defense. I don't know what Brewston's going to give us. They may give us the 11-man prowl. That's the only thing left that we haven't seen at this point.
Yeah.
But instead of just taking it for what it is and just going to work, we overthought things on our interior run game, and it made things cloudy. And so we had to abandon it and get to more perimeter games, and luckily it worked out well for us. But we're kind of hinged on being able to do some things within the tackles, and that hinges on our offensive linemen, and they're so smart. They're smart kids, and they communicate, and we've talked to a lot of them up here. They're seniors, but sometimes you can be too smart. And you can say, well, it looks like he's in a head up technique there, but he might be shaded just a little bit to his left. And there's all these what ifs. And instead of just saying, we're going to call him a 0 and we're going to go with this call and we're just going to go with this and not messing with our splits. And we tried to change some of those things on our own. The O-line tried to ad-lib a little bit, and we found out now in film and talking with them, and they don't need to do that.
Maybe trying to be a step ahead of you.
Exactly. And that's what they said. Well, we've tendency this, tendency that. I told them, I said, I don't care if you hold up the Wile E. Coyote sign off of the Roadrunner and say, hey, I'm about to block down on this nose. I don't care as long as you get the job done, because they still have to stop the play.
Right.
Your alignment to me, if you're limited with how much you can move laterally, then you need to cheat your splits down. Don't cheat it out. And that's that overthinking part of it. Like, well, Coach, I always cheat my splits down on this play. I thought maybe tonight I needed to cheat my splits wider for this play because of tendencies. I said, no. Throw that out the window. You're thinking too much now. You're too smart for your own
Simplify it.
Don't even worry about that, because, there may be a coach that watches enough film somewhere to say that and look at that and be like, I got him pinned. Fantastic. We're on about 6 plays. It ain't hard to pin us. We've got about 6, 7 formations, 6, 7 plays, and we'll window dress it is all it is. I mean, that doesn't mean as much as people make it out to be. It comes down to doing the job you're asked to do versus them doing the job they're asked to do. Who does it better? And when we outthink ourselves, it puts us behind the 8 ball. And so O-line, while albeit they pass pro'd well because they thought a lot about the pass pro call, we've got to get better run blocking this week because we don't know what Brewston's going to give us defensively. Coach Dolan's done a great job. He's throwing a 4 front. He's throwing a 3 front. He's throwing a 5 front. He's throwing a 7-man box. He's throwing a 6-man box. He's throwing an 8-man box. He's just throwing everything at them. And it's a lot of it's not sound alignments, but you never know. We've not gotten the single look that we thought we were going to get. So there's number one. Number two, there is a little bit of it's not necessarily a thing to fix from last week, but it's the thing to focus on this week. There seems to be a little bit of a bug going around. Got some kids that are feeling a little woozy in the tummy. taking care of ourselves. I think
Yeah.
it's overlooked a lot. Getting to bed on time, getting a little bit extra sleep, eating, washing your hands, not sharing bottles when you drink. It seems like it's just a little 12 to 24 hour stomach bug that's kind of going its way through. And if you take vitamins, take an extra vitamin. You can't OD on vitamins. You just, your body gets rid of it. If you drink orange juice, it's drink an extra cup of orange juice in the morning, whatever it is. Take care of yourself, because we're not deep enough to be missing 3 or 4 kids to sickness and be at full strength. We don't have the depth. So that's a concern for me on a Tuesday right now. How healthy are we going to be? Not physically, but just, you can't help sicknesses. I understand that, but you can do things to help put yourself in a situation to not get sick. Kids, I was a teenage boy. I loved to stay up later than I was supposed to. Just when I was supposed to go to bed and I was in bed, I wasn't asleep. We've been there, but your body wears on that. It wears down, and we come to school and you've got hundreds and hundreds of humans in here, and there's this, taking care of your body, being extra precautious with what you're touching, wash your hands before you touch your face, all those things. Number 3, it is going to be continuing to build on who we are and how we play. I think truly this week is a great week for us to get to. It's about what we do. It's about what we do. It's about how we handle adversity. It's about how we handle our emotions. We know it's going to be a chippy game. We know it's going to be a high intensity game. We know they're going to play us tough. We know it means a lot to Brewston as it means a lot to West Carroll. We have to focus on us. I think we took a big step last week, and I think it was key in us starting fast. And we cannot just say, "Oh, we got it now, and no, we don't have to focus on it anymore." We got to continue to get grounded. Something we've started doing, and started it last week, and I've rolled it over to this week. We have a 5-minute team meeting before we ever start anything, where I just sit and talk to them. Sometimes it's important stuff, and sometimes it's just how you doing? How's your date going? Or just a reminder, like, hey, ground yourself. Whatever it is you do, ground yourself right now before we go out there. And it's just that reminder, that reminder, like, okay, whatever happened in this building is over now. I can't bring that over to here. We're going to work now. And so maybe it'll pay off. I think that's the big 3. Schematically, we know what we need to do defensively and offensively, but it's just about how we do it. It's the manner in which we do it, and staying healthy from sicknesses this time of year.
All right, we got to step away, take a quick 1-minute message, and we'll come back, and then we'll kind of dig a little bit deeper into this Brewston game on Friday night. 1-minute message here on the War Eagle Radio Network.
You know good and well a party ain't a party unless giant inflatable jumpers are involved. Hensley's Inflatable Rentals has you covered with an inflatable bounce house or a 15-foot tall inflatable slide. And better yet, they both can be used wet or dry, whatever your party calls for. Call Big Dave at 731-487-5995 for rental prices and booking. Or visit Hensley's Inflatable Rentals on Facebook to see the offerings and to add the extra fun of inflatables to your next event.
Would you like to take out the zombie population? Are you ready to wipe out things that walk among the dead? Then the Zombie Trail Paintball in Humboldt is the place for you. 1533 Mason Grove Road in Humboldt. You will board a trailer to travel a mile path through the woods, shooting targets and zombies. Plus they have a corn maze. For more information and to buy tickets, visit zombietrailpaintball.com or check them out on Facebook. Take out the zombies if you dare.
Welcome back live on the War Eagle Radio Network. Talons Out Live, presented by Rogers Hydrant Service here at Team Night. They're gone. They've already left, but they've got things to do and places to go and people to see and make things happen. So,
wishing a big good luck to our middle school basketball teams as they start their season tonight, boys and girls. I know we had a lot
of Clarksburg. I think
they are. We had a lot of boys we had a lot of our players go watch them. Got siblings that play, family members that play. So wish them well, right in the kids go right into the next one. Junior high football just ended last week. Now they're right into basketball. So, good luck to the junior high, War Eagles, both boys and girls, as they start their season.
Yep. And let's see. I think it's they was going to have a junior high basketball game on that Thursday night when we were going to McKenzie. And I think they've since changed that. So we're going to McKenzie for football on the 26th on that Thursday, and then we've got a home game. That's the first home game for junior high basketball is on that. I believe it's on that Friday night, the 27th. So I'm the PA announcer for junior high. So
Yeah, you are.
out there. So we'll get ready to make that stuff happen. All right. So let's look ahead at Friday's opponent. Look ahead for Brewston. And you've already kind of talked about some things to fix and stuff, and you can even include some of them as your powers to succeed. But what's going to be your top 3 things for your powers to succeed going into this game against Brewston? And I mean, there's been plenty of times that you said start fast and your special teams and this and that. Is that where we're going again with this? What's your
definitely start fast? I mean, it needs to be a similar start to McEwen. One thing Coach Dixon pointed it out, and I guess I'd kind of overlooked this, but we have yet to walk away with points when we open up a game on offense, and that needs to change. And it would be a great week for that to change. This game.
Did he just tell us our Atwood Nutrition coin toss results?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I don't decide which one heads or tails.
No. I mean, what you decide after that if you do win it. So
yeah, no. Well,
just give that away.
I decide that probably about 10 minutes before they ask me because I normally battle with it all Friday. What do I want to do here? And I think that's important. I think this game is over the years, it's the team that shows that they're there to fight for 4 quarters first seems to be the team that has the most success.
Right.
And we don't need to wait around to see what they bring to the table.
No.
Again, throw records out the window. Just don't even look at it. It does not matter because they're going to come in here and they're going to play like they're 7-1 instead of 1-7. I mean, that's just, or I don't even know what they are. I know they've won one game, but they're going to come in here and play like world beaters, and I'd expect nothing less. So,
always is a tight game.
It always is, and they have a lot of pride in this game, and so do our kids. It's not like our kids don't either. For y'all, I've asked, and no one can tell me, but there seems to be some blood with West Carroll and Brewston, and
the only difference for this year that I really noticed is it's later in the season. Normally, Brewston is with either 1 or 2, the first or second game.
Well,
now they're in our region.
That's the key.
This is the first time they've been in our region in quite a while. I think.
Yeah, it's been a while, but
it's always been that one or two game.
Wait, 1 or 2.
It's always been just 1 to 2, 2 touchdowns. Within the score,
Yep, I know, and later in the season, you hopefully have gotten things cleaned up. You know who you are. Sometimes those first few games of the year, you're still trying to figure yourself out.
Right.
You're trying to get it all ironed out. How does it fit together? Get the kids in playing shape. And the heat, and there's a lot of things that go in there. But now we're a little bit later. It's hot right now, but it's gonna be nice Friday night. So you got to start fast. You cannot. They're going to be looking for momentum. And they're going to capitalize on momentum. And we cannot allow them to have momentum, in my opinion. It's just not a dogfight that we're going to want to be in. Number 2, got to control the line of scrimmage. We have to control the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball. They've got some big kids. I'm actually kind of impressed with their size. They have a lot of big, beefy boys up there on both sides of the ball. And we've got to find a way to get our interior running game going again to make Milton and Dalen and Zach Fowler as much of a threat as possible, both interior and exterior wise. I've got confidence that our receivers are going to do good things. Need Nate to have a great night of just being that physical wrecking ball again, as he has been in the past. Number 3, and probably my most important keys to success is staying where our feet are mentally. It's going to be an emotional game. It's going to be a high intensity game, and we have to do a good job in between the white lines of holding each other accountable and keeping us grounded when the emotions get high and when the frustrations get high. This is not going to be one of those things where it's just going to be two church choir groups playing football. It's going to be a physical game. It's going to be an emotional game, and so we have to stay grounded mentally and not have another repeat of what happened at Houston County.
He beat me to my question on the emotional. So I was going to ask him about the emotions.
It's probably more important than the first 2 I said.
And I agree with you. That's what I was going to lead to, was just controlling your emotions. This has been every time we've played Brewston. It seems like dating back for 10 straight years.
yeah.
It seems to be 50 penalties in the games, and they last 3 hours. That's all we've ever.
Well,
Every game we've had, it's been like
even
that.
in basketball too.
Yeah.
It seems like when we go up against Brewston in both girls and boys basketball,
Just-
it's like, why?
Yeah.
You know, I don't understand why that is.
No one has been
penalties.
able to give me a very good reason of why the blood is what it is between Brewston and West Carroll, and I'm sure somebody out there knows. I'm sure somebody does, but I've yet to been able to.
Never knew we really had that rivalry.
I didn't either.
You look at
know.
McKenzie, yeah.
Sure.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you go up against, you look at McKenzie and Huntington,
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Well,
Huntington and Milan, yeah.
You know that.
but it's-
I'm gonna go back to my first year. I mean, that was a game. You know, Xander had a
Oh,
good game, and they played
was
well.
unreal.
And it took a last second scoop and
Let's
score to
see,
win that.
it was
game.
a valiant effort to pull that out.
And then
Yeah.
last year we played them here, and we scored a lot, but we gave up a lot, and it was just a shootout. So it was a low scoring affair the first year, high scoring affair the second year, and
Now it's
but now there's an added caveat to this. It's a region game.
yeah.
You know,
So-
it's implications. It's not just the bragging rights in a county between Brewston and West Carroll. I mean, this is for playoffs, and we're in that time of the year now where we're looking and we're talking and we're, you know, you shouldn't look ahead. But me as a coach, I'm starting to think about, okay, how does this all unfold with Region 5? You know, what is that region looking like? What is it kind of? It's time to start thinking that way. I mean, we're in October. It's crazy, isn't it? And I feel like we just started this. It's October right now.
Are you concerned this is a trap game? I almost feel like it is.
100%.
I feel like it is. I told
Without a
Jonathan
shadow
that
of a
before
doubt.
all fair. I told him that. I feel like this is a trap game, major.
Without a shadow of a doubt, it is.
It's a mental game more than a physical
And
game.
that's why the emotion side of it is so important.
Yeah.
It's so important to find a way to help our kids, you know, ground themselves emotionally. And I think it's also imperative for our fans in the stands to remember that. The kids feed off of the energy that comes from the stands. If the energy coming from the stands is negative or hateful towards Brewston, they're going to be negative and hateful towards Brewston, and then it's unstoppable.
Very
At that
good. That's
point,
good.
it's boiled over. So it's multifaceted with battling this problem. Yes, you know, we talk about it and we try to, you know, teach them ways to handle their emotions. And then, yes, we try to have teammates out there and them hold each other accountable. But that energy that comes from the bleachers, it's infectious. You know,
Yeah.
when you're hearing all these comments towards, you know, an official or a team or actions that are done that are just outside of our control, that plays into an emotional situation that's already existing.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I get it. It's an emotional game. I love the game. It's a passionate game. It's a physical game. All those things combined. But there's a right way and a wrong way to play the game. And we have to be sure we're playing this game right. Or it will be a trap game because we'll start playing the mental, emotional game. And that's what I think Brewston wants. I think
there's
Brewston
no doubt.
wants to get in the head and cause the internal fighting, the external fighting, and you battling yourself along with them, and they thrive off of that. And so all of West Carroll has just got to keep that in mind that, you know, let's do what we do.
Yep.
If we do what we do, I like where we could be. I think it could be a great night. And you know, again, it's going to be a huge night. It always is for home. It's great to have 2 home games back to back. But there's going to be struggles. There's going to be struggles with this game.
Definitely. All right, we're going to step away. We'll take a quick 30-second break. We'll come back, wrap it all in a bow after this on the War Eagle Radio Network. Are you looking for the best knowledge about H2O? Call Rogers Hydrant Service Incorporated. At Rogers Hydrant Service, they focus on building strong relationships with each of their customers to ensure every experience is the best that it can be. With over 125 years of combined experience in water treatment and distribution, they can help you achieve the best results from your water distribution system. Call Rogers Hydrant Service.
It's clean.
At 662
It's cold.
7300.
And that's what I call high quality H2O.
Welcome back live on the War Eagle Radio Network. Talons Out Live, presented by Rogers Hydrant Service. Coming to an end here. Well, good victory last Friday, and you know, like you said, keep the emotions in check, make things happen for this Friday going against Brewston. It is Pink Out Night.
It is Pink Out Night.
So wear your best pink outfit.
And also want to give a big shout out to Dale's Recycling for being our game sponsor for this. It's something new we're doing this year, and he was one of the first ones to jump on it. So be a lot of things you've seen on social media for him. We'll have some things going on Friday night, so that's a big thanks to anyone that supports us, but a big thanks for him to being the first to jump into that, and we hope we're making this worth his while.
Yep. Pink Out Night for breast cancer awareness, and so bring all things pink, and like I said, appreciate Dale Nelson and Dale's Recycling.
And
my
daughter will have a table set up with some free pink items, some
I forgot about that.
the boomsticks, pink boomsticks,
yeah, the
and
thunder sticks.
yeah, thunder sticks.
Yeah,
We'll be passing those out along with
fun.
some neon pink, different type of necklaces, neon, snap, glow,
Right.
whatever. But that's just free. She just wants to be there to hand them out, so
Good.
just be sure to swing by and get you some of those, and let's pink it out and bring the noise,
Make it happen. Bring the cowbells.
bring the
Wrap some
cowbells.
pink stuff
That's
around
right.
your cowbells
That's
and
right.
bring it on. So,
That's right.
Hometown Grocery Deli pregame show starts at 6:30, and the kickoff 7 o'clock against the Hollow Rock Bruce and Central Tigers. It's going to be a fun night. Going to be a fun game. So y'all show up, show out, and if you're unable to, just tune into the Warrior Radio Network, and we'll try to do everything justice. And if everything works out, and they put a 20 minutes at the halftime, we said this past Friday. Me and Adam come from the band. That was a heck of a band performance with all the arcade game situation. So we're going to show that Friday night on the halftime show. We're going to read the stats. We're going to shut up, and we're going to watch and listen to the band. So my mom has always said, I want to listen to the band. So Friday night, we're going to
gives us a little break at half too. So
we're going to listen to the band. And that was some pretty cool stuff that they got going on. So we're going to support them as well at halftime show on our Centennial Bank halftime show on Friday night. So
all I've got, one word, I think, is trust with West Carroll this week. Trust in each other, I think, is going to be a huge trust in your teammates this week. So that's all I've got.
Thanks. All right.